Now, the modern NBA, for an older fan like me, is just different. It just is. And from my perspective and the perspective of many others like me, not necessarily for the better, but it is different. Like, the style of play is different. Everybody run into the freaking three-point line. The lack of truly great post players. And you can go on and on and on. Like, the style of play, just different. Also, the athletes are somewhat different. Now, that's not to say that athletes in the NBA historically haven't exercised powers or leverage. Like, are we going to pretend like Magic Johnson early in his career didn't get Westhead fired? Are we going to pretend like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't force his way out of Milwaukee? Like, these things happened in the past. So it's not like it's a brand new phenomenon or development to say that it is exploded in terms of its frequency and that the players have taken much larger control and share of the power in the NBA. You know, that's absolutely true. I want to be clear. Like, you can feel both ways on this in terms of you could totally support, like, you don't want all the owners and the traditionally white guys to have all the power over the underlings who are, you know, majority black. You like the thought of, you know, players being employees and being able to have that power and leverage like you would maybe want in your lives. Like maybe you were able to exercise. If you don't like a job, you have enough skills and enough on the resume where you can say, fuck it, I don't have to be here. I can go somewhere else and I can hold this job up for more money, relatively speaking, or I go somewhere else and get more benefits. Like, that's not fundamentally a bad thing. So I respect that the players have more leverage and have more power than they used to. I also understand that that leads to some negative connotations for the game. It absolutely does. Like, you got players, a lot of them take the easy way out. They're certainly entitled to do so, but it doesn't mean that we have to like it. Things get tough, they get going somewhere else. They'd rather join up with somebody to try and win it all instead of have the win-it-all team be built around them. It's different. It just is. And a lot of these guys now, you know, you talk about movement of players all the time. Like, one thing really miss, I think, in today's NBA are the real, like, great emotionally investing rivalries. We just don't have them. Especially if you talk about style of play really impacting the modern NBA. It's the lack of rivalries that kills it to me as much as anything else. But in a league and a time where you have the KDs of the world that, you know, can't beat Golden State, even though his Thunder have a 3-1 series lead, so he takes the bitch-ass move out and goes to Golden State. He wins a couple championships there. Great for him, but it'll always be known as a punk-ass move, just like LeBron couldn't get it done as the focal point in Cleveland. The decision, he goes and picks up his ball and goes to take it to play in Dwayne Wade's home. That's what he did. You like it or not, but that's the reality. It was kind of the punk-ass move. They're totally empowered to do it, totally well within their rights to do it. That's part of the thing of free agency. Nothing wrong with that in that sense. That said, doesn't mean that it's still not a punk-ass move. So when I look at somebody like Giannis Antetokounmpo, you know, he's somebody that I respect already because he could have taken the easy way out. He could have said, you know what? I gave it a run here in Milwaukee. I tried, but I don't think we can get it done. I don't think this organization can put the talent around me to get it done. I want to go somewhere else where I'm not wasting the peak years of my career. I'm all of 25, 26 years old. Like, I want to go somewhere else and have a chance to be on the biggest stage in the NBA Finals and winning championships during the height of my powers. He'd have been well within his rights to do that, especially with the precedent of the modern NBA with guys like LeBron, guys like Durant. Or you could sit there and say guys like James Harden that are the franchise guy until they don't show up consistently in the playoffs and they don't want to be the franchise guy anymore and they want to take the fucking easy way out and go somewhere else and force their way out. Well, Giannis didn't do that. Instead, Giannis stayed loyal to Milwaukee, stayed loyal, I feel like, in large part to himself, and said, you know what? I want to be the guy here. I have unfinished business here, and I want to show that I could be that dude. I want to be somebody different. And I tell you, for all those that a year ago were talking about how he was a Pippen and not a Jordan, sure did pretty well for a Pippen in this year's NBA Finals, didn't he? Please note sarcasm. So Giannis already had my respect. But what he did this year and in the playoffs, and even especially in the NBA Finals, like, he's earned my eternal respect. Like, this has made him a legend in my eyes. Because what we saw in the NBA Finals was truly special. And what I appreciate about Giannis, it's not just the fact that he averaged 35 and 13 for the series, and that's even coming into the series not knowing whether he was going to be healthy because of the hyperextended knee late in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Atlanta Hawks. It's the fact that he approached this series like this was his opportunity, and by God, he had to make the most out of it. He didn't use the knee as an excuse to not play. He didn't use the knee as an excuse to not play well. He didn't run from the criticism when he was shooting like shit from the free throw line at key stretches, at key moments, at key times in the playoffs. He took all of that criticism, the failures the past couple of years in the playoffs to show up or ball out or be the big-time MVP level guy that he has been twice in his career. Like, he stayed with the team that drafted him, had confidence in them to build the right combination around him, and said, I'm going to be a different type of franchise player, then faced the criticism like a man, like a lot of these modern athletes and especially NBA players just cannot do. He didn't make excuses for it. He faced it, accepted it, and kept going. And then in Game 6, when it was all on the line, like after Game 5, and you had the great Drew Holiday finals moment that'll live on in eternity. It's a 2-2 series, and Bucks are only up 1, and Drew strips Booker, and it's the lob to freaking Giannis, and it's game over nighty-night. You know, in Game 6, when the Bucks had to have it, they're at home, chance to close it out in front of the Deer Nation, whatever the fuck they call themselves, some of those real fans, and a lot of them bandwagon. Oh, Green Bay's not going to win, but Milwaukee can, so now I give a crap about the NBA. He goes out and he balls out. Like, he says, I refuse to lose this. This is my shit. I am that dude. And he goes up and puts up a 50 spot on Phoenix in Game 6. In the NBA Finals, LeBron could never, in a closeout game, could never, especially if it meant that his team wins, especially if it means that he had to take the big shots at the big moments. I don't necessarily mean that so much as a dig as LeBron. It's going to come across that way, and if some of you don't like that, you can shoot shit on me in the comments. But the bottom line is, like, what Giannis did in this year's NBA Finals is very reminiscent to me of what Dwayne Wade did in 06 with the Heat. Because if y'all remember, this is kind of similar. The Mavericks went up 2-0. Dirk and the Mavs were rolling. They looked like they were going to be the next NBA champions. And then all of a sudden, Game 3 came around. And especially once it got into the second half, Dwayne Wade went off. He said, enough of this shit. I'm going to carry Shaq's washed up ass to another title. And that's exactly what the fuck he did. Watching Giannis these last 4 games as a body of work overall in the 2021 NBA Finals reminded me a great deal of the 2006 NBA Finals performance by Dwayne Wade. And that special, legendary, all-time, we still remember it 15 years ago. And that was the performance right there. Like, it's easy to forget, but early on in their careers, people were preferring Dwayne Wade over LeBron James. And don't pretend like that's not true. It's absolutely true, because they look at LeBron not being able to get past a certain point in the playoffs, and here you are, Dwayne Wade, 3rd season in the league, and he's the unquestioned dude showing up clutch and huge in the big moments and flashes winning an NBA championship. That's why Dwayne Wade to this day still has the respect that he does and the admiration that he does. Because of that performance, like, that was legendary, iconic, all-time stuff. While his performance was not the same in 2011, you look at Dirk Nowitzki and you say, you know, he pretty much won that championship as the only big-time star on his team. He had a quality team around him, like the Tyson Chandlers, old Jason Kidd, Jason Terry's, but he was the dude, almost like Olajuwon type of fashion, where he won it with a bunch of quality role players, but he was the only established, clear-cut dude. But even Dirk's performance in the 2011 Finals in no way, shape, or form matches up to the individual statistical brilliance of what Giannis just did in these 2021 NBA Finals. And it changes so much about him. Now, you're going to have those that I saw, like I was going back and forth with people on Twitter over the past week talking about what he's already doing at age 26 makes him the second greatest power forward of all time, which is just a dumbass assessment, especially at this point, even with this fantastic, legendary, all-time NBA Finals performance. Sorry, you have to factor in body of work. He still hasn't surpassed Karl Malone. He still hasn't surpassed Dirk Nowitzki or even Charles Barkley. Someday he might. But damn it, he's only 26 years old. He's still got a lot of years left on his career before he starts passing some of those all-time greats in terms of power forwards. Let's give him some time before we have to sit there and allow our recency bias to run a freaking muck. Let's appreciate the greatness of what we saw in Giannis and be tantalated, and, kind of excited about what the future could be. Now, as a Bulls fan, I'd rather not see the Bucks win another NBA championship, but I also want to appreciate great talent when I see it, and Giannis is clearly a great talent. He's a two-time league MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, now Finals MVP. He's going to be a Hall of Famer someday. There's no question about that. I want to appreciate great talent while they're there, and what is exciting about him is that his best years, in theory, could still be ahead of him. And imagine how much better Giannis could potentially be in the next 3 to 4 years because of this breakthrough this year in the playoffs and in particular in the NBA Finals. It might be his league now. But for him to step up like he did when the chips were on the line, and Middleton's an all-star, but he's clearly not a Giannis-level player. Drew Holiday is a high-level role player, but a role player nonetheless. I mean, he's just like a really good number 3 option. That's okay. Brook Lopez, quality big man in today's game. But, Giannis was the unquestioned, clear-cut dude. As much as people are going to talk about, Middleton and Holiday might have had some big moments or hit some big shots in Game 6. Yeah, they also shot like shit. It was Giannis' show. It was Giannis that took them to the title, period. And I respect dudes like that have enough confidence in themselves and enough hunger and enough desire to say, you know what, I want this bad enough that I'm going to take this game, put my team on my back, and carry them to a freaking championship, which is exactly what the hell he did. All while facing down the criticism about not showing up the past couple of years in the playoffs, not showing up at the free throw line in key moments. Look at his free throw shooting in Game 6. It was freaking phenomenal. I have a lot of respect for dudes like that. And I think all of you should too. And I can certainly say a player that I already respected quite a bit, has earned my eternal respect based off of this 2021 NBA Finals performance, because it is truly something special. It is truly a legendary performance. And as we go through the years more and more, we will look at it that way more and more, I believe.